Arthur Pumble was a man of simple tastes: tea, biscuits, and sensible trousers. Every morning he'd sit at his little kitchen table, steam curling from his mug, the gentle clink of a biscuit on china his daily ritual. He liked things just so, neat, predictable, and quietly comforting. Arthur's world was small, but it was safe, and he found a certain peace in the gentle rhythm of his days. His days at the biscuit factory were as predictable as the morning toast. The hum of the conveyor belt, the sweet scent of ginger and sugar, and the steady clatter of biscuits into boxes filled his hours. Arthur took pride in his work, knowing every ginger nut was packed with care. Yet, as the days blurred together, he sometimes wondered if there was more to life than perfectly stacked biscuits. Packing ginger nuts was respectable, but Arthur felt stuck, longing for something more. He'd catch himself gazing out the factory window, watching clouds drift by, his mind wandering to places he'd never been and dreams he'd never dared to chase. The world outside seemed full of possibilities, but Arthur wasn't sure how to reach them. One rainy Tuesday, he watched a family move into a cottage, their faces beaming as a lady in a smart blazer handed them keys. The children danced in puddles, the parents hugged, and the cottage glowed with new beginnings. Arthur felt a pang of envy, mixed with hope. He wondered what it would be like to be part of such a joyful moment. Arthur thought, "I want to be the one handing over the keys, bringing that joy." He pictured himself standing proudly at a front door, sharing in the excitement of a family's first home. The idea warmed him, sparking a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. That evening, he told Gromit, his loyal dog, "I'm going to help people find their perfect homes." Gromit, ever the good listener, wagged his tail and cocked his head, as if to say, "Why not, Arthur?" For the first time in ages, Arthur felt a spark of excitement, a sense that maybe, just maybe, he could do something extraordinary. He imagined himself in a blazer, talking about loft insulation and sunny gardens. He saw himself guiding families through cozy living rooms, pointing out the best spots for a bookshelf or a window seat. Arthur pictured laughter, gratitude, and the satisfaction of making dreams come true. Soon he learned the lady was a real estate agent, and that you needed a license to do her job. It wasn't just about knowing houses, it was about learning, studying, and passing tests. The thought was daunting, but also thrilling. For the first time, Arthur saw a path forward, even if it was lined with challenges. This license was the key to a new life, not just houses. It was a symbol of possibility, a ticket to a future where Arthur could help others and find meaning in his own journey. The idea of unlocking doors for families and for himself filled him with hope. Arthur felt a jolt of excitement. This was no longer a daydream. It was a real goal, something he could work toward. The thought of changing his life, of stepping out of his comfort zone, made his heart race with anticipation. He could learn, pass tests, and help families start new chapters. Arthur pictured himself studying late into the night, Gromit by his side, determined to master every detail. He imagined the pride he'd feel, not just for himself, but for every family he could help along the way. His journey from biscuit packer to home finder had officially begun. Each step away from the factory was a step towards something bigger, something brighter. Arthur knew it wouldn't be easy, but he was ready to try. The idea felt right, like the last piece of a tricky jigsaw puzzle. Everything clicked into place, and for the first time Arthur saw the bigger picture of his life, one filled with hope, challenge, and the promise of new beginnings. He was ready for a grand adventure, even if it felt as distant as the moon. The road ahead was unknown, but Arthur's heart was full of courage. He knew that every great journey started with a single brave step. Arthur's first step: find out how to get that license. He scoured pamphlets, searched online, and made lists of everything he'd need to learn. Each new fact brought him closer to his dream. The dream was now a plan. Arthur's world was changing, and for the first time, he was the one holding the key to his own future. So, what is a real estate license? Think of it as a driver's license for selling houses. It proves you're trustworthy, knowledgeable, and ready to help people with their biggest purchase. Without it, you're just an enthusiastic neighbor. With it, you're a professional guide. The license shows clients you understand contracts, property laws, and negotiations. It's a badge of honor and a serious responsibility. Having a license protects buyers, sellers, and you, the agent. The training prepares you for paperwork, deadlines, and legal details. It turns confusion into a smooth process for everyone. For Arthur, getting the license was the first big hurdle and the official start of his new life. It separated dreamers from doers. The license was his key to a new career. Arthur discovered that getting a real estate license was a lot like building a brand new invention. Each step had to be followed carefully, and skipping even one could mean starting over. He realized that, just like in his workshop, patience and attention to detail would be his best tools. The first step was education. Arthur enrolled in pre-licensing courses, where he dove into the world of property law, ethics, contracts, and financing. These classes weren't just about memorizing facts. They were about understanding how real estate works and why rules matter. He met other aspiring agents, shared stories, and learned from experienced instructors who brought the material to life with real-world examples. After weeks of studying, it was time for the big exam. Arthur felt a mix of nerves and excitement as he sat at his desk, pencil in hand. The test was challenging, covering everything he'd learned, and he knew that passing it would prove he was ready for the next stage. The exam included both national and state real estate principles, testing his knowledge of laws, contracts, and ethical practices. It was a true measure of his preparation. When Arthur saw his passing score, he felt a huge sense of accomplishment. All those late nights and early mornings had paid off. Passing the exam was a milestone, but it was just one part of the journey. Next came the paperwork. Arthur filled out his license application, double-checked every detail, paid the required fee, and submitted to a background check. It was a process that required patience, but he knew it was important to ensure only trustworthy agents entered the field. Once approved, Arthur needed to join a real estate brokerage. New agents can't work alone. They must be supervised by an experienced broker who can guide them through their first deals and help them avoid common mistakes. This stage was like an apprenticeship. Arthur learned from seasoned professionals, picking up tips and tricks that only come from years in the business. He watched how they handled clients, negotiated deals, and solved problems. The right brokerage offered more than just a place to work. It provided training, support, and a team environment where Arthur could ask questions and grow his skills. He found mentors who encouraged him and teammates who celebrated his progress. Each step, from classroom to exam room, from paperwork to mentorship, brought Arthur closer to his new career. He could see his goals getting nearer with every effort. Arthur saw the path clearly now: learn the material, pass the test, complete the application, and join a supportive team. Each phase built on the last, creating a solid foundation for his future. It was a journey with a real destination, a career where he could help people find their dream homes and build a life he was proud of. With every step complete, Arthur felt more confident. He was ready to begin this exciting new chapter and open the door to his future in real estate. Arthur's education began with online courses after work, breaking down real estate into bite-sized lessons. He learned about property ownership, fair housing laws, and the language of real estate, terms like escrow and contingency. The most important lesson, being a trusted advisor, not just a salesperson. He studied how to price homes, analyze contracts, and protect clients' interests. Each evening, Arthur built his knowledge brick by brick. Gromit kept him company, nudging textbooks as if to help. Arthur's confidence grew with every lesson. He was laying the foundation for his new career. The big exam day finally arrived, and Arthur transformed his kitchen into a command center for learning. Flashcards covered every surface, and notes were taped to the fridge, cabinets, and even the toaster. The air buzzed with nervous energy, but Arthur was determined to give it his all. Gromit, his ever-loyal companion, pitched in by organizing study materials with color-coded flags, making sure nothing was out of place. Together, they made a great team, turning stress into strategy. Arthur didn't just cram facts, he focused on truly understanding the concepts behind every question. He read, reread, and took careful notes, determined to master the material, not just memorize it. When he sat down for the exam, he faced two challenging sections: national questions that tested his broad knowledge and state-specific questions that demanded attention to detail. Hours of preparation paid off. Arthur passed with flying colors. The moment he saw the word "passed" on his results, he could hardly believe it. A wave of relief and pure joy washed over him. It felt like he'd just climbed his first big mountain, and the view from the top was incredible. Passing wasn't just about earning a certificate. It was proof that he was ready for real responsibility, and that all his hard work had truly meant something. As Arthur walked out into the bright sunshine, He felt 10 feet tall, his heart light and his steps confident. He'd set a big goal for himself, and through perseverance and grit, he'd achieved it. One checkmark closer to his dreams. The dream of helping families find their perfect homes felt more real and attainable than ever before. This victory gave him a new sense of confidence and excitement for the next steps on his journey. Arthur was no longer just a dreamer. He was now an achiever, ready to take on new challenges. He was ready to make a real difference in people's lives, one step at a time. The journey was real now, and Arthur couldn't wait to see where it would lead him next. With his certificate in hand, Arthur's next step was finding a brokerage, a team led by an experienced broker. He visited big companies and small family-run offices, searching for the right fit. Hearth and Home Realty stood out bright, friendly, and focused on mentorship. The managing broker, Beatrice, paired new agents with veterans and offered weekly training. The team felt more like a family than competitors. Arthur joined with a smile, completing the final paperwork. Receiving his first business cards was a proud moment. He'd found his professional home. Now he was part of a team, ready to help people find their own perfect homes. The real adventure was just beginning. Arthur was officially a real estate agent. Arthur quickly discovered the benefits of his new career. His income now reflected his hard work. More families helped meant more earned. He enjoyed the flexibility to set his own schedule and spend time with Gromit. Independence was empowering. He was building his own reputation and business. Every success was his own, and he took pride in helping people. The best part was handing keys to new homeowners, seeing their joy. He guided families through stressful decisions, answered questions, and celebrated milestones. Arthur wasn't just selling houses, he was making dreams come true. He was trusted in his community. The work was meaningful and fulfilling. Arthur's life had changed completely. He was building a legacy of happy homes. Real estate wasn't always smooth. Arthur faced challenges. Finding clients took effort. He built his network one conversation at a time. Deals sometimes fell apart, but Arthur learned to stay calm and resilient. He managed unpredictable income by budgeting carefully with Gromit's help. The flexible schedule often meant long hours, evenings, and weekends. Setting boundaries was essential to avoid burnout. Arthur made time for himself and his hobbies. The job tested his patience and creativity. Each setback taught him something new. He learned to support clients through ups and downs. Taking care of himself made him a better agent. The challenges made the victories sweeter. Arthur grew stronger with every obstacle. Looking back, Arthur barely recognized his old self. Real estate transformed his confidence, resilience, and sense of purpose. He found joy in helping others and building a legacy. His story isn't unique. Anyone can start this journey. Real estate rewards hard work, integrity, and a desire to help. It offers independence, teamwork, and fulfillment. If you're dreaming of something more, maybe it's your turn. The path is clear. Look into your local requirements. Your own adventure could start today. It might just be the best decision you ever make.